Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Smash Bros. Guest characters. For this list, we're looking at the best and most exciting guest characters to appear in the Super Smash Bros. Series. Do note that we're only counting those who are playable, so don't expect to see any assist trophies. Which guest character had you bouncing off the walls? Share with us in the comments below. Number 10, Mega Man. After the surprise appearances of two certain characters in Brawl, it was only a matter of time before we saw what other third-party character would make a guest appearance in the subsequent sequel. The fourth Smash Bros. Game would deliver by introducing Capcom's own Blue Bomber. Super Fighting Robot, Mega Man! His inclusion made perfect sense given how many unique abilities he's picked up from the several dozen robot masters he's defeated. Just seeing him moving around the battlefield is a dream come true, and his odd array of projectiles make him an interesting ranged fighter. Number 9, Ryu. Shockingly enough, Mega Man would not be the only Capcom rep to be introduced in Smash 4. Ryu made his debut as one of Smash 4's handful of DLC fighters, and it was a pretty big deal at the time. This was a character originating from a more traditional fighting game franchise, one that played drastically different than Smash Bros. As expected, series director Masahiro Sakurai and his team delivered a fighter that mixed things up a bit and even let us access classic moves by inputting their respective commands. Ryu would, more or less, lay the groundwork for the inclusion of more fighting game characters, as we'll see later on. Okay. Number 8, Pac-Man. Knowing that Bandai Namco was developing Smash 4, it was almost an expectation to see Pac-Man get thrown into Smash. Though one question remained, how exactly would he play? What we got was one of the strangest characters on the roster. Our pellet-munching pal came equipped with a fair amount of his own attacks and a butt-ton of Namco references. Mappy, Galaga, and Pac-Land are just a few titles that die-hard Namco fans and arcade babies will recognize. Whether or not you liked his awkward abilities and wacky style, one can't help cracking a smile just from seeing the grandfather mascots of gaming under one roof. Number 7, Terry Bogard.
Cover!
SNK may not be as big as some of the other IPs and studios represented in Smash Bros., but their history within the fighting game genre is just as important. What better way to commemorate their work than by squeezing in a rep from the King of Fighters? Much like Ryu, Terry comes with moves that can be used with the same inputs featured in his games. Just from seeing Terry in action, it's easy to tell that Sakurai is a huge fan of fighting games, and his inclusion in Ultimate was enough to make us go and replay the older King of Fighters and Capcom vs. SNK games. Thank heaven he didn't bring God Rugal with him. Number 6, Joker. Given that Persona 5 only released on PlayStation 3 and 4, one could argue that we have a PlayStation rep on our hands. Regardless of how you'd like to spin it, Joker's inclusion was, and still is, a huge deal.
Can't you use a more powerful Persona?
What are you talking about? Our set is Awesome!
Before Joker, every Smash character had at least one game on a Nintendo platform, and this was a fighter hailing from a game that had almost nothing to do with the company. Well, excluding Persona Q2 on 3DS. He also came with a set of skills that were fitting of his cool nature, and his unique mechanic with Arson made him an excellent addition to the roster.
Smash is looking cool! Eh, Joker?
Number 5. Steve. For years, we memed about Steve being in Smash Bros, and in 2020, the meme turned into a prophecy. Somehow, this blocky dude managed to build his way into Smash, and he is one of the most interesting fighters on the roster. We really don't see any characters focused on literally using and manipulating the stage, and the aspect of building around the environment was so crucial to Steve's playstyle that Sakurai and his team had to go and rework every single stage in Ultimate. To think, one character caused over 100 stages to go through a bit of reworking. Number 4. Cloud Strife.
こんな日が来るとは思わなかったな.
Though Joker's inclusion certainly raised eyebrows, he was not the first unofficial PlayStation representative. Originating from the PS1 title Final Fantasy VII, just about every gaming fan was freaking out about Cloud's inclusion in Smash 4. Fans had spent years and years hoping the spiky-haired soldier would get put into Nintendo's All-Star Brawler, so much so that various Smash fan games featured Cloud on their rosters. Not only was this a dream come true, but our favorite bad boy played about as well as we expected. Even to this day, it's still hard to believe this is real. Number 3. Solid Snake.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance, Snake. Now get out there and show him what you're made of. No regrets. Got it.
There are a handful of characters we would have expected to become the first guest fighter in Smash Bros. History. Admittedly, Snake was nowhere near the top of our list. That didn't make his revealing any less exciting though. Seeing someone as realistic as Snake standing next to the likes of Mario and Pikachu is downright hilarious. More so when you see him lobbing explosives around the battlefield. Sure, he was a bit clunky to control in Brawl, but the tweaks in Ultimate have made him exceptionally fun to play, even if we're just coating the area with grenades, rockets, and C4. Number 2. Banjo and Kazooie. This has been a long time coming. Banjo and Kazooie were originally going to be in Melee, but the distance between Nintendo HQ and Rare made it hard to establish a reliable communication. And so, they never made it in. Imagine the wicked grin on our faces when the Bear and Bird were announced as DLC fighters back at E3 2019. God knows I was freaking out. This wasn't just a new guest fighter on the team, this was an old friend coming back with a new look, and more importantly, it was an Xbox IP in a Nintendo game. The excitement around the duo's reveal was so loud that even Xbox's Phil Spencer noted how many folks were showing their love and nostalgia for the Banjo-Kazooie franchise. Please, please Microsoft, channel all of the powers within you and give us a brand new Banjo-Kazooie game for the love of God. Before we reveal the ultimate Smash Bros. Guest character, here are a few honorable mentions. Kazuya Mishima. This guy is infamous for chucking people off cliffs. Simon Belmont. Finally, the NES franchises are reunited. Sephiroth. Because who else is going to destroy an entire planet just to win a 2-minute match?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, and this is a big one, Sonic the Hedgehog. Of course, we're not going to forget the blue blur. For years, Nintendo and Sega had viewed each other as enemies, competitors in a market that sought to dominate anyone and everyone. Though we would see Mario and Sonic compete in the Olympics a couple months before Brawl launched, Sonic's reveal in October 2007 was enough to break the entire internet, or at least the entire gaming community. Nintendo featuring their rival's mascot in one of their own games? What kind of crazy alternate dimension had we woken up in? What's even more wild is that Sonic has been featured in both Smash 4 and Ultimate since his debut in Brawl. Considering their rocky rivalry, it's still wild to see Nintendo and Sega fostering a healthy friendship with each other to this day.
Piece of cake!
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out some of our other videos here on WatchMojo, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.